Yeah, welcome back, buddy.
Yeah, great to be back in Michigan.
Yeah, Sam was down enjoying some warmth.
Be the sarcasm.
No, where were you at?
Yeah, we sense it all right.
Where were you at?
Florida.
No, where at in Florida?
Oh, just in Orlando.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm heading down there in like 2 weeks.
Yeah, we're going back in February. I'm getting the hell out of here again.
Because you can. You're right.
Yeah, because when you tell everybody you're from Michigan, they say, "Oh, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry."
Well,
Sorry.
so I started promising senior citizens to drive their car to Florida, and then they would fly me home. I'm like, okay, they pay for the fuel, the food, and the fly home, and I get all the goodness.
It's not a bad deal.
You had good weather. You had warmth down there, Sam.
Oh yeah,
I love it.
Cool.
We're here on my Sports Talk, right? The holiday, December 23rd. You know, we're in between seasons. We're going to talk a little bit about the ending to the Michigan and the Michigan State football season and how they kind of both limped to the finish line. Pretty much. I mean, we had some big news from Michigan this week where they've removed Don Brown, the defensive coordinator, from his position. So the first of probably a few things being shaken up there at Michigan this offseason around the football program. We're still holding out on the contract extension potential for head coach Jim Harbaugh. But what's your thoughts on that, Sam? And what do you think about Don Brown being removed from his job?
I think it was inevitable, right? I mean, it was.
Yeah.
That was one of the obvious changes I think was going to happen, right? Just when you look at the past 3-4 years, even right, what's happened. I mean, the defense has been, it's been decent in the regular season, but then when you get to Ohio State, get to the big boys, get to the bowl games, they seem to have him figured out. So I don't know. I don't know if it was, I mean, he's been successful where he's been, and it was a great hire. Everybody thought it was a great hire when he came on board. Brought a lot of enthusiasm, brought a lot of fire. People seemed to like to play for him, but for whatever reason, they just didn't really. I mean, statistically during the regular season against, non, top teams, they had numbers, but then they really couldn't hang with the big boys when all was said and done when it came down to it, right? So
yeah.
What do you think? How many years was he there for?
Don,
original signing.
5 years.
5
years.
Do you think he's kind of getting tired of the game, or is he just getting too rote in the process?
I don't know. It's hard to say what it is, right? I think defensive line has been pretty decent, right? Defensive line, they've had some success there. The linebackers, they've been a little thin here and there. They've had a couple of guys, obviously, that Devin Bush and a few guys that and others that have made it in the NFL. But when you look at a linebacking core across the board, they've been a little thin there. Mm-hmm. Definitely thin there this year.
Yeah,
I mean, they were playing former walk-ons, this year. Secondary has been disappointing, for a long time, right? They seem to not be able to, he plays a pressure defense and, puts those guys out on an island, and they don't seem to be able to handle it. The athletes they've gotten in just, they've been getting burnt, right? I mean, look at the bowl game last year against Alabama where they get a little speed, Ohio State where they get some speed, and they go downfield on them and just can't cover.
Yeah.
They get penalty after penalty and, just can't cover. So.
Yeah, in my opinion, I thought they obviously you're there, you knew people had a hard time figuring out how he was running. They had early success, and then as people, did well against them, like whether it was the Ohio State game plan or the Wisconsin game plan or the Michigan State game plan, people started to decipher what works against it and how to attack it. And I don't know if my viewpoint, I don't think he adjusted well with how to scheme it better. But
it didn't seem to this year. Again, it's hard to gauge anything on this year.
Oh yeah.
Teams like Wisconsin and Michigan, they ran on them a little bit more than you've seen in the past. But I think that was more a factor of a lot of injuries up front, and a very, very thin linebacking crew.
Oh, yeah. Once McGrone went out, they were hurting without McGrone. secondary was very young and
Mhm.
inexperienced out there, and some of those guys trying to learn on the job is a hard thing to do. And obviously, this year was very, like you said, Sam, a very tough year to judge by. But his numbers had gone down gradually from year to year instead of it going up. Or and you're looking at Ohio State getting 62 and 1 year, and the next year they got 56 on them. So that's the deciding factor. And your Michigan State comes in this year and does what they did to them. So that was
Wisconsin, right?
Wisconsin turns around and gets 40 some on them. So yeah, I think it was time where you just couldn't defend it anymore. I think, and it was as much as they say it was firing, I potentially would think it's mutual. But I think Don Brown will show up somewhere else. I think
Absolutely.
level down maybe a notch, but I think the East Coast will take him in a heartbeat. One of those schools over there will take him back, and amount of staff there. But that's just one of those kind of things. You just played it out, as far as you could go. Now, if they had success, and yeah, you'd still be here, no doubt about it. I think, But yeah, so I don't know. It's a tough thing. Obviously, some of the players have already decided to leave. They had a good recruiting class, coming in. I think they salvaged the recruiting class, is what the people are saying out there.
Yeah.
They lost a couple guys, but recruiting wise for Michigan, they held strong and got a top 12, recruiting class, which isn't bad, I guess. Not up to par, but what is it in 2020?
And I think, there's still some guys that can go after, and there's some, unfortunately in today's day and age, you got the transfer portal to look into.
Yeah. Got an offensive lineman, I think, coming out of Louisiana Tech.
So I'm sure there's guys out there that aren't happy with their playing time with where they're at. And, it's weird. You get a lot of, former 4-star guys, in that transfer portal now, and pick up some talent. All right. So
yeah. I don't know. Any question for him, James? You got that?
I was considering the fact that the guy got fired, basically, right?
Yeah.
And he can move on to a different team. Do they look at his failures as any type of detriment to his success in the next team he goes to, or if they're willing to hire him in, or no, or it doesn't really?
I think he's a good hire, right? Somebody will pick him up. I don't think that has a factor in it at all. I mean, he's perennially, put together good defenses. It's just been a matter of circumstances, right? It'd be probably the same situation if he was at Auburn or
So it doesn't take the resume.
SEC, and Alabama comes in and puts up 70 on him every year because they can, right? It'd be a similar situation. But he's in, maybe he goes down a notch or whatever. He goes to maybe a little lesser conference and can be very successful.
Yeah, okay. So he's not like, it doesn't really taint the resume as much.
I don't think so.
All right. Very well. Thank you.
No. Some of the names they're throwing around right now, I've heard early on, Will Muschamp, and it's a long shot for Will, I think. Derek Mason, the old coach at Vanderbilt. A guy from the West Coast, I think, that worked with Harbaugh out in the West Coast when he was with San Francisco and San Diego when he worked out there, Stanford. So it'll be interesting to see who pops up here as the search goes on. But I heard talk that Harbaugh is supposed to be signing an extension here, within the next couple of days. So I don't know how true that is, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. But
which, again, I think that's the right thing to do.
Oh yeah.
I'm not sure. There's a whole lot of options out there. Otherwise, I think obviously he hasn't had the success everybody wanted him to have, in the big games against Ohio State and so on. But who has? And
right, and that's what you got to base you can't base it on that.
The thing that you want to see, I think you want to see back, is a little bit of that fire that seems to be.
Oh yeah.
People say, or at least seems to be missing from him a little bit, and so you hope that maybe this. I don't know. I don't know what it is. Maybe he just needs to be energized somehow. With people compare the situation with what Kelly's done down in Notre Dame, right, where he was kind of struggling a little bit. And he cleaned house and brought in a bunch of new assistant coaches and kind of got re-energized and the program back up. You could argue, are they really a top 4 team, maybe not, but they're there, right? They've been there a few times now. They've been embarrassed a few times as well, but I guess getting there is better than not getting there.
Right? Same thing about the Buckeyes right now, I think, too. They've gotten there, but they really haven't. The last couple of years, I think they've come up on the short end almost in that same manner where they haven't played well in that game and gotten. I think this year might be a different story. I think them and Clemson have a vendetta against each other, and
it'll be interesting to see because in my opinion, jury's out on Ohio State. I mean, playing a 6-game schedule in the Big Ten, which was not strong this year. They didn't. Obviously, they were missing a lot of guys in that Northwestern game, but still, you got to take care of business, and they did, I guess. But it was more of a not an impressive performance by any stretch.
No. They didn't handle Northwestern the way they should have.
I think jury's out in my mind. I don't know that they're in the same league as Alabama and Clemson. I don't think Notre Dame is either.
Yeah, I mean it's evident by the spreads that Vegas is thinking the same way. Alabama is a 19-point favorite over Notre Dame, and Clemson's almost an 8-point favorite over the Buckeyes. So early line as a 2 blowouts coming up here, really, with the semifinals. But I mean, it'll be good games. I think you never know. You'd hope. I thought the Clemson Notre Dame game would have been a good game last weekend, but that really faltered for me. I thought that Notre Dame might be able to. I mean, the first game was a great game, but obviously you take out the best player in the MHSAA. Trevor Lawrence not playing in that first game, and he showed up in that second game. So, and Bama was in a tight fight with Florida, but they persevered, and the way Alabama always does, they showed up and pulled it out in the end, even though Florida was trying like crazy to upend them. But Alabama, I think, is the best team in the NCAA. I don't think Clemson's. I think it comes down to Alabama and Clemson for the title. Then it'll be a good game, but I think
it'll be a shootout, right? Could be a shootout. I don't. Nobody. With the weapons out. I mean, I watch Alabama week in and week out. And
sure.
You look at the weapons, and they can score from anywhere in the field. Seems like anytime they want, any way they want. Right? They can throw the deep ball. They can pick you apart. They can pound you. They can do whatever they want, literally at any point in time. It seems like, and teams struggle to stop them because they have so many weapons.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. It's just like, you think you got Bama down, boom. They just answer you. And it was like the other night watching them against Florida, it was like you just couldn't give them the ball back because you just couldn't stop it. So that'll be the same route. I don't think Ohio State's defense is going to be able to contain Clemson's and offense, and I think vice versa. I think Clemson will be able to contain a little bit of Ohio State because I don't know. Just Ohio State. People say, 6 games, but 6 games is only you haven't had much time. The other teams there have played 11. They've had a little bit more of a full season to adjust and make adjustments and with people and stuff like that. So it's you look at that game against Northwestern and Ohio State. Was it Northwestern up at halftime? And then just couldn't come on, and they ran the ball. Ohio State's running back finished up with 300 some yards.
Well, and didn't they throw a late interception in the end zone too in the first half?
Yeah, they did. Yeah. That guy from Northwestern jumped up and made a great catch, I think, in that game. So Fields he hasn't played his best. So whether or not he's still got it in him to come out against Clemson, I don't know. But we'll see. We'll see what happens there. But it was exciting.
Well, good thing is we don't have to wait long. Right? So.
No, that's the thing. It's not like we finished in early December and you don't have to wait a whole month. They're going to turn around and play it pretty quick. So hopefully, obviously there's been some COVID issues with the bowl games already. Hopefully, but they said they'd postpone it. They wouldn't, obviously do what they do. Cancel. Obviously not going to cancel it, but they'll push it back until they can get a chance to get in there. But yeah, I mean it's. Some good things coming. They got the signing days for all the teams, and Michigan had a good signing day. Michigan State had a great signing day, I think, for Tucker's first recruiting class there. I think he did some good things for them. But I just heard Rocky Lombardi just went into the transfer portal. I think they've decided on the other quarterback that they brought in at the end of the year to move forward with him. I think Rocky's going to move on to another team, but you know, I don't know. The Spartans obviously they're building quietly, I think, and be interesting to see what Tucker can do down there at East Lansing. I don't know if anybody, James, you got any opinion on the Spartans at all?
Well, they're my college favorite, although I have never gone to college. I prefer them versus U of M. Sorry,
That's
you
all
too.
right.
But it's just because of inheritance to the fandom when I was a kid.
Sure.
It's just to me, it's intriguing that these people can move between colleges. And do they gel easily with the teams they're moving into, or is there any type of like getting used to the new player without having the whole awkward moment? I mean, because they're just basically going from one, like you said, the portal, right, the transfer portal,
Yeah.
to another team where they were so used to one group and now they're in another group, and it's a whole different mindset, different state, different attitude, different sports mind. Does that affect their gameplay, or does that help improve the team's energy? That's the curiosity for me. Like like hey, there's a new guy and he does good in the other group. Now he's here. I just don't know how that becomes like a psychological aspect of this whole thing. You're literally talking. Yeah.
Depends on the position, right? I mean, if you're bringing in a quarterback out of the transfer portal versus maybe an offensive lineman or more of an impact guy, I think it has more of an impact or more of a change in from a cultural standpoint, right? Because you got to get used to things, and especially if you're relying on that guy to be your leader, right? Quarterback. Like, I mean, Shea came in, Patterson came in, never really. I mean, it worked out okay, but didn't really do what people, what the expectations were.
Jake Ruddock was another one that we had at Michigan, that quarterback.
Was a positive, right? You look at all the quarterbacks that have been here since Harbaugh's been here, and he's probably the top guy.
The best guy he's had.
Performance standpoint.
So the coach does kind of reorient their idealism of how to play the game within the team.
Yeah.
Well, the player, obviously the transfer portal, James he's got a chance to look at what program best fits him too as a player. So he's going to make his decision by either a team that recruited him when he was coming in college, or a team that best suits him for playing time, number one, maybe, or the system in general. So, there's been different guys, and the more it's taken hold here, more guys have moved around now. So.
Okay, well, that makes sense. Cool. Thanks, guys.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting. I know Michigan's going to go, like you said, Sam, and then there's the late recruiting in February that still have a chance for some guys to pick up on, or still sway some guys over. I've heard the Barry from Oak Park, the guy that he picked Michigan State, but he didn't sign in the early signing period, so he's not officially signed with anybody. And he was apparently he was close to almost 80 or 90% going to Michigan. He was going to go to Michigan, and in the last 12th hour, he decided to pick Michigan State. He verbaled to Michigan State, but obviously there's talk. I just was reading the other day after the recruiting was, Michigan still got a chance at him because he didn't sign yet. He hasn't signed with Michigan State, so he's still out there as a target for them. So just a lot of different things there that could play into place there. So and obviously the guys come in with a lot of hype, and they're 4 stars, 5 stars, but 4 years later they always reevaluate how good these recruit seasons were. The signing guys and stuff like that. And I mean, you look at Alabama. They had Najee Harris. Najee Harris is the running back for Alabama right now. He's crushing records down at Alabama, but he was close, or not close, but he was considering Michigan at the time.
It was on his
radar, his final top 5 or whatever. And then he got to Alabama and he had to wait his turn. So a lot of guys sometimes get in there, and as a high 5-star guy like Najee Harris was, he gets in there and he very easily could have said, "I'm not going to sit here and wait. I'm going to transfer." But no, he stayed, stuck true to his word, and now it's paid off big for him, and that's a good thing. So a lot of guys do that. They'll sign and they'll go in there like, "Oh, we're going to be I'm going to be a world breaker, and he'll get in their school, and after a year or two of sitting on the bench, they transfer.
Mhm.
So it just didn't
Well,
work out for him. So
look at Mac. Stay in Alabama. Look at Mac Jones, 3-star guy,
yeah,
right?
he's a
3-star
three.
guy came in knowing that Tua was there, Jalen Hurts was there. You know, came into that situation, with eyes wide open, and said, you know what, I'm going to come in here and I'm going to learn. I'm going to work my butt off, and then I'm going to get my chance.
Yeah,
And now they're talking about him as a possible Heisman Trophy winner,
right,
as a
exactly.
3-star.
Yeah.
So to me, that's it's a mindset of a kid. You hope those are the kind of kids you want, right? I would take a 3-star that wants to come in and learn and work, and maybe it's wait his turn, but over a 5-star kid who's so damn impatient because he's got that 5-star label, and if he doesn't see the field immediately, he's talking transfer, and that to me is a little bit of a cancer to the team. You
Oh
know
yeah,
that I
yeah.
think is the problem with so you got to be real careful on the types of guys that you bring in. You can't just chase those numbers and those 5-stars because maybe if it's not the right type of guy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's why sometimes recruiting classes aren't as successful as they are on signing day. 4 years later, they can be a complete dud. Or some of the guys, if they get 20 guys, get down to 5 guys who are still there,
And
or whatever have left. So,
that to me has been one of the I think, disappointments for me personally in the Harbaugh era, because I would think that as a guy coming in, he would be the type of coach that would attract the type of player that wants to come in, work hard, be dedicated to the program, because that's what he's about, right? As a
right,
coach.
yeah, yeah,
And for whatever reason, it's happened in some cases, but it hasn't happened enough, in my opinion, across the board. And having that's the type of culture. Look what Saban's done. Now, Saban's brings in 5-stars for sure,
yeah,
but Najee Harris sat. So
right,
what about that culture? You know,
yeah,
what about that culture says,
yeah,
a 5-star is willing to come in, or more, maybe it says more about the player too,
yeah.
but they at least
It could,
identify that type of player that fits that culture that says, I may not see the field right away, but damn it, when I get on the field, I know I'm going to play for a national title
sure,
every year,
sure.
be
Right.
part of this. And
Yeah. Well, it could
that's
be the
what
coaching
Coach
staff too.
Harbaugh
Yeah,
bring to the table. When he came in, is that type of culture and bringing that type of guy
right,
across
right.
more than that.
Yeah. Yeah, it could be his coaching staff. Those guys keep him pumped up and keep him fighting. That kind of thing. It could roll down to that. It could be like what Saban's got rolling there, and a lot of those teams. You can say Clemson the same way, or you can go down into some other schools that are experiencing success. Is the players embedded into the player behind them? Hey, I'm here now, but you're the next guy up, so don't go anywhere and don't do anything. So
Mhm.
there's got to be that kind of a mentality too. I think where the players embedded into each other, that you got to carry it on. You got to carry the torch when I'm done. Don't just leave. Your turn is coming.
Yeah.
I think that's another way to approach it too. It's a team morale thing, and that's what disappointed. We were talking a little bit with Tom last couple week or whatever, where they talk so highly of Michigan having that morale all season and saying, "Oh, this is a tight knit group," and blah blah blah. And next thing you know,
Yeah, I
you
don't
know,
see it.
they lose, and they didn't see any real evidence of that. So yeah, maybe there was, we didn't know it. Maybe it's held tight and thing, but it didn't reflect on the field. So, but obviously Harbaugh's have his issues, but we'll switch around here and go to the Michigan basketball program right now and touch on Juwan Howard and Izzo and both the Michigan State teams starting out with the Big Ten basketball season starting out here. Michigan started against Penn State and beat them in a good ball game, and the Spartans opened with Northwestern the other night and lost to Northwestern in a flat game. I watched the last 15 minutes of that game, and Spartans really didn't have much life. It didn't seem like they couldn't get anything going. Northwestern played well against them, but
Seems like Michigan hasn't played in like a month.
I know they haven't played. It's been a long time since they played. They start Friday. You got Nebraska. You got
I just
Nebraska, and
wonder
then they play.
why they've had such a long layoff.
Weird, isn't it? It's kind of weird. I don't know. Hopefully it doesn't affect them too much. But obviously, Michigan State, they are still trying to find their niche. I think they shot poorly against Northwestern and came up short. They didn't play real well. I didn't think they, were living and dying outside at times, and their post game isn't real. They had some big guys in the past, and right now his post game players aren't doing much of anything. And so I think they're trying to find, as much as they look good against Duke a couple weeks ago and beat Duke at Duke, they turned around and didn't really play well at all against Northwestern. I don't know if it was overlooking them or what, but
is it the poor defense group that's in the problems category? Like the defense didn't work for the minute, because it looks like the score is pretty wide.
Yeah. No, they were Northwestern had developed even a 17-point lead on them, which was rare, and then they cut it down. Looked like they were going to make their little run on them right there in the second half, and then Northwestern answered the call and built it back up to 16 again, and then State didn't have enough more in the tank. Northwestern ended up hanging on to win. So I think State in the end. I think State in the end has got the most gifted, talented group. I think still, but I think Iowa looked pretty good the other night. They rebounded from the Gonzaga loss and lost to Gonzaga, and now they played well and won the other night against Purdue. I think it was they played Purdue last night. So, but yeah, we actually see Michigan get back at it. And they're both road games. These are the first two road games for Michigan. They started their whole preseason early games all at home. So they'll travel to Nebraska and then they travel to Maryland to play. So
yeah, they ran through the MAC.
They did. They beat Ball State. I forget who they beat. But yeah, they did relatively well. They struggled against Oakland there early and had to come back and beat Oakland there in that game. But we'll see how Michigan does. I mean, they're not picked to be in the top echelon, but I think they'll be okay. They get some guys that need to step up and play well, and they lost Davis for a little while, but hopefully he'll be back within a couple weeks here from his calf strain. But
yeah, I think they'll surprise some people. I think they'll make a little bit of noise.
oh yeah, I think so. But Pistons and Red Wings are both starting to get around to kicking off. I just saw the Red Wings are going to kick off January 13th with their season, and the Pistons are playing tonight, I think, against the Wolves of Minnesota. So I think Michigan's playing, or Pistons are playing against them tonight. So interesting, whole new crew of Pistons out there. So it's going to be a whole new team out there for the Detroit Pistons, and the Red Wings pretty much the same way. I think the Red Wings and Pistons both clean house this off season. So time will tell as we watch the season progress here with those two teams. Obviously, what do you guys think on any of the Pistons or the Red Wings?
Well, I don't have much, because until I can go down and maybe see them in person,
there you go.
And I just won't sit and watch an NBA basketball game these days for whatever,
I tell you,
I might tune into a Red Wings game, but again,
good.
Difficult to these times. I don't know.
I hate to say it's easier to watch on TV.
Yeah,
like we talked about, Sam. You may as well play a video game and see who wins that. Yeah,
it's hard for me to get into it. Really.
Yeah. Well, I got the Pistons up 55-48 right now in the second quarter against the Minnesota Timberwolves. So just check that score. Just check that score. That's those aren't preseason games anymore, so that's legit. So that's interesting stuff. In the bowl season, obviously the bowl season's going, so there's some bowl games on. College bowl games, and that's been a few games here. We had one cancellation, I think, one or two cancellations already. So be interesting to see how all those bowl games play out. But
I was, not the flip. We're still in winter. We just started winter here in Michigan, but my thoughts always turn to baseball, right? And coming to spring training, I'm going to be down in Florida in February, and I'm hearing bad things about spring training now.
You're hearing bad things about spring training?
Yeah.
What have you?
From what I'm hearing is owners, they don't want to deal with the whole COVID, start, stop. They're not going to. They really don't want to start the season until a lot of the players are vaccinated. Apparently, is what the words are.
Really?
Yeah.
Welcome to July.
Yeah.
Start baseball. Yeah.
Well, I mean, look what they did last year. I mean, you could see a repeat of last year. They may not come back until, play 60 games, do the same thing they did last year.
But it does cost a lot of money to open up, seasons and then not play for weeks at a time and still pay the people, saying across the board.
Yeah.
And so I respect their decision on this one. However,
Yeah.
give us the thing we need to drive the positive energy of sports play. Or the seasonal gameplay. I'd love to go to Florida and Winter Haven and watch the Tigers.
Absolutely. Well, that's what prompted my comment, because I as I mentioned early on, I'm looking forward to getting back down to Florida in February. My last in-person sporting event was last spring. Or everything went to hell in a handbasket. I watched the Tigers play the Blue Jays at Joker Marching Stadium, or whatever they're calling it these days, right?
Oh, yeah.
My brother lives in Newport Richey, and my family has heritage in Zephyr Hills, and I never saw them practice, in spring, the early practice times, ever. So this would be a great time for my brother and me to bond on baseball. Since I don't know much about any sport, I do know for a fact he would really enjoy that. Yeah. So I'm hoping that they actually do allow visitors to, the practice field.
Well, again, from what I'm hearing, their spring training's in jeopardy. So,
shoot.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. It's like, do they rush back just to delay it? That's probably the biggest question they have right now. And whether you're playing down south in the warmer weather and all that, but why rush into it? Because they're going to send guys up north here in April. I mean, what they usually start in February, they start prepping, and then camp gets going, and then March they play a whole month of preseason games, and then they start the season April 1st, right? So
yeah, but then they don't play because of the COVID, security.
Right. Yeah, like I say, Sam and I was watching an old recording of our MI Sports Talk, and Sam and I were sitting here last year in March, excited to go down to opening day, and then all of a sudden the rug got pulled out from underneath us. We both were disheveled.
First time in my 57 years on this planet, I buy a ticket to opening day. I end up not going because of COVID.
Isn't that the worst?
So I guess it's my fault. So.
Oh, we were all set to go. Remember, we had just talked about that. We were so excited because we had been cooped up, right? I mean, they had shut things down most of March, right? Well, half of March, I think, because of March Madness, right? So we got shut down halfway through March, but then our saving grace to getting out was to go watch the Tigers and opening day, and all of a sudden,
I don't know about you, but I'm still waiting on my refund.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Bob got my ticket, and I was like, I don't know.
They still got my money.
They still got my money. Finger. It'll be funny. Yeah. I mean, that's what they talked about. What do you do? Refund? I mean, what is a refund? A little something for the effort there. Eh? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So let me ask you a question about hockey for a minute. Going back to the hockey topic, college hockey, is that a relevant thing for?
Yeah.
Right.
They're playing.
When does that start? Or has it already started?
It's already started. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, Big Ten's playing Michigan, Michigan State and all them. They usually play weekend games, so back to back. Saturday, Sunday, or Friday, Saturday.
Talk about another pretty. If you ever had the opportunity again to see a sporting event in person, going to places like hockey at Notre Dame is pretty cool place to go watch a hockey game.
Yeah.
Hockey at Michigan at the old Yost Ice Arena, really old facility. Place to rock in. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
There's a lot of great college venues.
Michigan State's rink up there.
A lot of great venues to watch hockey.
I was like 16 when I went to Michigan State to watch them play hockey, and I was like too young to even know what the hell I was going for. But it was like an epic time. I walked into this arena, and the energy was high.
Yeah.
And the sound was so loud.
Yeah.
So you have the passion there.
Something about hockey. something about hockey rink. Going down to the Joe when it was there, going into Little Caesars. Now I've been to one game at Little Caesars, and just going in there and hearing it, feeling it. Something about a hockey rink and the chill and watching the fast pace, the smell. Yeah, you get the smell of the hockey gear and the sweat. And the Zamboni machine. You get the smell of the Zamboni going around there.
Hockey bags and rugby bags. Never smell them at all.
Oh yeah, it's good stuff, isn't it? It's like taking a glove and sniffing the glove.
If you want to wake up a passed out person, wave that stuff under their nose.
That was like baseball back in the day. Baseball, you'd sit there out in the field, your glove would be smelling sweat.
It's like
sweaty leather.
That's like the worst day of high school football is recollecting those shoulder pads.
Oh, God almighty. Yeah, sanitizing those suckers. Taking them to get sanitized, they stink.
Take them to the car wash and spray them down.
Just throw them away. They're terrible.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The locker room smell. But yeah, definitely hockey has been missed, I think, here. I think the rings are going to be exciting to watch them. I think they're a new breed in there, some new players for the Red Wings. Obviously, the Pistons got some new guys to generate some new interest with them. So we'll see how that goes and where that takes off to. And the Tigers, like you said, Sam, I mean, a lot of excitement building with the Tiger youth.
Got Hinch, got the new manager coming in, right? AJ.
Yeah, Hinch, and they brought in the pitching coach from Michigan's going to take over there. He's supposed to be really good. So there's a lot of hope. I think maybe the three teams that are suffering, obviously the Lions. We haven't talked about the Lions at all. At least we could say all four teams here in the Metro Detroit area.
Are they still playing? I don't even know.
What's that?
Still got a team?
Football?
The
Lions?
Lions?
I heard rumor. I heard somebody there was a rumor that they were still playing.
Huh.
But yeah, I mean you can go on the Lions, but obviously the Lions are got rid of Patricia and are looking for a new coach. So there's going to be new blood in the Ford Field coming up.
Nice, Pat. A lot of job openings around here.
Yeah,
I can see that. Yeah.
Well, I like the Spielman. I like the Spielman hire, and I like the Barry Sanders bringing those two guys back.
See, old blood.
I particularly love the Spielman hire.
Yeah.
There's not a more guy's got a lot of passion. He's obviously genuine. He's honest. That's the guy in the organization.
Will they keep the temporary coach for next season, or are they going to just replace him? On break.
I think he'll go into the interview process, but I don't think
he'll make it very far.
Yeah, I think he'll either be retained as an offensive coordinator,
maybe,
or potentially be dismissed. I don't know if he'll.
Wow.
Yeah, he's very respected across the league.
Yeah. I think he's
very respected.
I think he's a good coach, but whether or not, will that satisfy the fan base enough to?
Yeah. I mean,
right. I can't deal with another season of this. I'm sorry, but even though half of it.
I've only done. Come on, I've dealt with it for 53 years.
Yeah, I really. One more. Come on.
I had more. We got patience. We've had patience for this long. Why not?
You draw the line.
Yeah, that's it. 53 years. I'm done.
55. I'm out.
Completely done. I'm no longer.
I have one last question for the conversations of the show. Is college soccer? Oh,
just one.
Go ahead.
College soccer.
College soccer.
Is that something you guys follow at all, or no?
Not much on the college soccer front. I mean, Michigan obviously just got that going a little bit, but occasionally they put it on Big Ten Network and watch a little bit of it. But I mean, you don't watch like the other night. I watched the Seattle team play against Minnesota in soccer.
Isn't it weird?
Dude, that was a very entertaining game. It was a very entertaining game. I do have to admit, the Seattle team was favored, huge, and Minnesota was winning 2-0 with 18 minutes to go in the match, and Seattle came back and tied them.
Damn.
And they won in extra time.
Four goals were scored in a soccer game? You got to be kidding.
They scored four. They scored. They were down 2, and it came back. It was 3-2. So 5 goals. 5 goals were scored. But it was
nice to watch is like 0-0, 1-0. They go into this miraculous extra time that I don't quite understand.
Yeah,
And,
extra
you know,
time for the injuries and all that,
It's an extra minute per injury or something like that. But I guess
Flopping. I'm sorry, for the flopping part of the game.
okay.
The guys go down, they're never going to get up again.
You can tell I'm a huge soccer fan.
Yeah, that's right.
Pat, do me a favor. I'm gonna send Sam the link
Sure.
to the Ted Lasso soccer video.
Oh, yeah, there you go. You got to send him that link. Yeah.
That way you can
Ted
get
Lasso.
caught up with how passionate this game is.
Football. He calls it football. He's out teaching soccer in England, and the guys, that's not a tackle. This is a tackle. He tackled.
I have played a little bit of soccer in my day.
Oh yeah, I dabbled in it, but
How old were you?
I played a little indoor soccer, and
it was after high school. It was after.
I got red cards thrown at me all the time because I was like checking guys into the boards because it was indoor, and I'm like,
What do you mean? What do you mean you can't do that?
can't do that. So I'm like,
So I played soccer when I was 6, and
then I actually played in a international soccer game when I was working with right before I retired from Fiat Chrysler. We were in Italy, and I was there with a bunch of meetings with the guys from Italy and the guys from Brazil. And there's a good friend of mine that actually is a huge soccer guy in just outside of Turin, Italy, and he arranged a soccer game for all of us to play. You know, he split the team up. You know, he knew Americans weren't very good, so he put us, and split us up. And then he had the Brazilians who are pretty good soccer guys. The Italians are pretty good soccer guys, and we played a soccer game in somewhere just outside of Naples. It was great.
Oh, it must be amazing. Yeah. Well, anyways, just saying, every morning I wake up at 2:00 in the morning. There's a soccer game on my TV.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
that's a good thing, isn't it? I guess.
I guess.
I had this thing. I had saved it for our show. T.J. Lang, who was the old lineman, he played for. I think he's from Brother Rice. Actually, I think he's a local guy, Brother Rice.
He is. Right.
And then he went to Green Bay and played Green Bay, and then came back to the Lions at the end of his career. So he's retired. He said his prediction for the Lions staff, he had it posted the other day online, was the head coach would be Sala, the guy from San Francisco 49ers. The defensive coordinator would be Dan Quinn, the old coach for the Falcons, he was a Seattle Seahawks defensive coordinator for years and had the real good defenses in Seattle. And then Bevel to be retained as the offensive coordinator. He goes, that's my prediction, no inside information, pure guess. How would you feel about this, Lions fans? So he posted that online the other day, so I saved that one just for discussion. So
I'm going to say it's always 2022.
It's always 2021, 2022, right? Yeah. Like we said, we're running out of time. We're running out of time to get the Lions into the Super Bowl. So, but yeah, I mean, yeah, that's the thing. And then we had the other post online that Dabo Sweeney's coach's poll ballot. That was a little bit of a discussion this week here. His final ballot was Alabama, number 1, Clemson, number 2, Notre Dame Irish, 3, the Texas A&M 4, Florida 5, Georgia 6, Cincinnati 7, Oklahoma Sooners 8, Iowa State 9, Coastal Carolina 10, Ohio State Buckeyes 11. His final ballot was not to throw any gas on the game there coming up on January 1st, but Dabo definitely put his ballot out there, and he had Ohio State in his final ballot as 11th ranked, and not 4th or 3rd. I'm sorry, not 3rd that everybody else had him. So that should add some excitement to the January 1st ball game.
Now, is that a positional thing, or is that just a spanking or a joke? I mean, Ohio.
Every coach has a ballot.
All right, got it.
They have a coach's poll, and his poll got out. And same with Nick Saban. Nick Saban had his was out too, but he had his. Ohio State was in the top 4. So.
All right, got it. Yeah, I was going to say that sounded really wrong.
Yeah, so that was that one there, but that's how that goes. But.
Very well.
So yeah, so as far as the professional, we've talked a lot about that. I know Sam and I've been talking a little bit recently, and a lot of things going on here in Michigan with the sportings for the high school kids, and obviously we touch on that a little bit here and my sports talk for our local kids here. Sam and I both being involved in coaching at the high school level, and there's a lot of things going on trying to get the fall sports championships settled, and there's a lot of things I know Sam probably steaming right now over there, but they say they're going to do this, and then they
I'm not sure.
and it's the CDC, or what is it, the health committee or whatever of Michigan is enforcing some rules that shouldn't probably be going down, and it's not fair to the kids that have played all fall.
Yeah.
All of a sudden now make demands of them that are unfair, and that's not right. And it's sad to see that come to this situation for kids who are playing it for the pure love of playing it. They're not getting paid a dime to go out there and play and leave it on the line, and it's playing for school pride, and that's what it comes down to. And that's all of us grew up playing that way. You played for your school. You didn't pay for the dollar. You didn't pay for anything. But these kids are having a chance to finish and win a state title and do it in the way that they watched all their friends and family members do it in years before. So yeah, it's just sad to see it that they just can't get this thing done with a week or two to go.
Yep.
Yeah.
And yeah.
So I don't know if you got any thoughts, Sam or James.
I got a lot of thoughts, but
I know you got a lot of thoughts, I'm sure.
but
Keep it G-rated. Keep it G-rated.
probably best that I don't share them.
Yeah.
But to your point, it's you feel the worst for the kids, because it's not fair.
No.
What they're putting these kids through. Everybody likes to say, oh, these kids, they're resilient, they can handle it, but the constant start, you give them a little bit of hope, and then you crush them a little bit, and then it's not right, and it's sad. And now you keep pushing. I thought we had a plan, and we all thought we had a plan, and people were scrambling. We met as a coaching staff, and we're trying to put things together, and then 2 days in, we're shut down again. People are changing holiday plans and travel plans, and to think these guys are, to me, it's just such poor,
Let me ask you.
Call it management of the situation, or leadership, people in these positions, because I'm sorry, I mean, I worked as a professional for, over 35 years. And if I did something like this in my professional world, I would have been fired.
Yeah.
Just to not be prepared, or to not have my act together. And when you've had time to put this in place, and then just be bumbling and stumbling through it, and
Exactly.
it's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Total shame.
I've got a water cooler question. So why wouldn't they just pause the season for 4 months and then start up in April when the grass starts to dry to wrap up the previous season's football?
Well, it's the snowball effect, right? Because I mean, the best, it's the snowball effect, right? Because what they're trying to do is finish fall so that they can move on to winter, and then move on to spring.
Yeah.
So if you snowplow football in between, try to squeeze it in somehow between winter and spring, it's tough. So, and then you got all the the bigger schools that have early enrollees.
True.
Right? They're going to be gone.
Yeah, you lose guys. Yeah, they got to go.
Guys, it should have just been finished when it was supposed to finish.
Yeah.
Because the fact of the matter is, game. Yeah, some teams were, had to forfeit games and blah blah blah. Not many. The overwhelming majority of games were being played safely.
Yeah.
And we wouldn't even be sitting here if they would have just had the courage to step up and say, we got 3 weeks left. We're going to push through.
Yeah.
There's a few teams. It's not many.
It's going to get fewer. It'll get fewer as you go. Yeah.
Endlessly, of those schools that are left, I'm sorry, if they're still involved in playing football and you're playing for a state title, you're going to be practicing every day. So we know where these kids are, right? They're not going to be hanging out doing something, with their buddies. They were anyway, right?
Yeah.
Practicing with their teams, and it would have been safer, in my opinion, being with the teams and being with the coaches and being in situations where we had all those protections in place the whole season.
Yeah.
So this is basically a season of an asterisk.
Yeah,
well,
that's asterisk.
Hopefully we get through it and finish it. But,
Amen.
There's a lot of kids that were right there. I mean, obviously, you think about 200 some teams, and it dwindled down to the final, whatever it was, 32 to. I think we're down
72
to the
teams, 72 teams right now in the state.
72,
Mhm.
72 teams. So
Yeah.
yeah, we crossed 8 divisions plus the eight man uh, 8-man teams. They're trying to finish that too. So yeah, I mean it's just a shame that we couldn't have had minds put together something and say this is what we're doing, and if this happens, this is what's going to happen, and if this is the plan, and right now we're not into that, and then they are influxing some requests that just shouldn't be requested, and that's I mean, you didn't have that to start with. There's no reason to have it now. It should be everybody's done their job, and the schools are responsible for their kids, and that's what it's gone down to. I mean, you can't expect a school of 80 some players to, I mean, how do you? It just doesn't seem right, and that's you're just dabbing too much. It should be just okay. Let's get this done. You're responsible adults. Let's get this thing over with, and let's move on to the next season. You know what I mean?
Other states have done it, right? I mean, our neighboring Ohio finished, Indiana finished. I was in Florida. I watched the state finals games in Florida. I mean, come on, just.
We know the ghost in the room. We know the ghost in the room.
No, it's a shame. It's just and they need to step up to the plate. They need to make the right decisions, and they need to stick to this decision. But really washing it around or whatever, wallowing it around it. Just say this is what we're doing. Get rid of these nonsense things. Just get back in there, get things done, get it done correctly, and finish this season. And then we'll worry about winter sports later. But it's just, yeah, it's just a shame that they're doing this in this situation. We don't want to be, obviously we want to be a voice of reason and that, and we are. We're voicing our side, and obviously the people in charge have their reasons, and we have our reasons, and being supportive of the kids is obviously our number one factor, and I think the kids deserve that chance to finish out the season, no doubt about it.
Well, I guess that's it for that, eh?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, well, to be continued, as we say, right, Sam? I think it's going to be to be continued because we're going to find out more here down the road. But I mean, it's like I say, Sam came back, Coach came back. I mean, guys are changing things around just to, and you just had a plan situated, ready to go, and you change it on the last minute. There's no need to do that. And like Sam said, professionals are out there doing decisions and day-to-day work life, and now they're doing that with these kids. It doesn't seem right, but. So, well, yeah, hopefully we'll get that thing settled up and the kids can get going. I know there's a lot of kids that want to play, and I think a lot of people want to see them play. So,
Finish it on the field, right? You don't want to
finish it on the field, and that's what I think too. I agree with that totally. I think they need to understand that and see the light there. That don't take everything else off the table. It shouldn't be about anything else but that. Still a kids' game. The kids are out there playing it. And let them play. Coaches are coaching, kids are playing, and let's get the game over with. And they're doing it for the love of the school.
There you are.
And the numbers are only dwindle each game, less teams, so it's less involved. You don't have as much. So why do we have to have that on a daily basis that they're demanding the kids to do? And that's not right. So, but yeah, boys. I mean, obviously, touchy situation. We got a lot of things going on, and hopefully we're at the light at the end of the tunnel. Hopefully this COVID will take its course and be removed, and we got the vaccines potential coming up in 2021. It's the end of the year. Everyone kind of wondered if 2020 would ever come to an end, and we're now 8 days away from the end of it. So
don't remind me.
I never wanted 8 days to go by so fast in my life.
You never knew what would happen between now and the end of the year. So just like
Yeah. I mean, you just you wish everybody happy Christmas, Merry Christmas, and a Happy New Year, and we get through these next couple of days and get into a new 2021, both as a country and as a sports teams, and sports fans. Get some normalcy back to the sports fans in 2021. As much as you want to do it, you just gotta try to keep it because it does. I mean, when we had no sports earlier in the year, it was tough, and then you brought sports back, and people got a glimmer of normalcy. A little glimmer of it. And even that, whether it's professional or high school, people had a glimmer of hope that they made them get up every day and keep going. And they talk so much about that people didn't have that, but January 1st, people are going to close out the year with a BCS title semifinals, and you're gonna roll that right into the NFL playoffs, and the Lions won't be there. That's fine. We won't have that to worry about. But there will be NFL teams in the playoffs.
I thought they were still in it.
They do have a legitimate chance, but they might have just been eliminated in the last hour. I think
They were. Yeah.
Mathematically eliminated in the last 15 minutes. But new coaches. We'll have a new coach for the Lions in the new year. We'll have a new hope for both Michigan State football and athletics there at both those universities and the other universities in Michigan. It's just it's a lot to look forward to. A lot of hopes and prayers, and we'll keep progressing here at MI Sports Talk and give you the lowdown and our thoughts on sports. No question about it. It's been fun. It's been a fun 36 shows so far. I think hit and miss, even though we've been through some challenges. We never thought when we started this show that we would be fighting through a pandemic. We thought we'd have just be able to just sit here and talk. But I think the last how many shows have been COVID related, but no, definitely, guys. I hope you guys all have a good holiday season. And
thank you much. You too.
Look forward to firing this podcast back up again after the new year. And I think January 6th is our next goal date. I think that'd be a good date for us to fire back. We'll be able to talk about the BCS games and all that, and talk about the title game.
If you're lucky, the week after the 6th, I'll be in Florida filming out of.
Oh, yeah, you can from a palm tree.
Oh yes, that'll be my background for the next time.
Sam might be down there too. You never know. He might just say he's had enough.
I might decide to just leave again.
Well, guys, thanks for the show.
Yes. No, thank you guys. Sam, take care, buddy. We'll be in touch.
Good seeing you guys.
In touch. And enjoy the bowl season a little bit here, and enjoy your holiday season with family. And well, I'm sorry, not your family, friends, but can we say that in Michigan? Enjoy your
6 feet apart.
Enjoy your Zoom Christmas.
Yeah. All right, guys. See you.
All right, man. Sam, Take care, buddy. See you, Jim.
Yeah.